Oliver. Welcome back to another episode, buddy. I am going to be building a little, I don't know, let's call it a motocross rover. We'll call it the Spider. And we're just going to build this thing so that we can get it down there to our Kerbal astronauts on the lunar surface so that they can kind of scoot around a little bit and look for rock samples and so forth so that they can set up their mining operations. That's going to be one of the great things about Kerbal Space Program 2 once they actually get it pretty squared away. Right now, Kerbal 2 is out. I downloaded it the day it was released, and it is very buggy. In my opinion, it's kind of unplayable. In other words, you put a lot of effort into creating a vehicle, and then in the process of flying it, the deeper you get in, the more buggy it gets. The more things start going wrong with the programming and stuff like that, so it's really hard to, I've been able to land on the moon, but anytime I try to go out to Jool and land on one of the moons of Jool Lathe, it just gets, like, the errors in the programming compound, and I have faith that they're going to fix that. But it might be a little bit. So hopefully with the influx of money, look at that, got some awesome lighting on this thing. Got to test it before you fly it. So anyway, with the influx of money that they get from selling this, I looked it up. There's about 4 million people that have bought and played Kerbal Space Program 1, and they're selling Kerbal Space Program 2 for about $50 a pop, so minus, the Steam fees for downloading it from the Steam platform that they probably pay, and then taxes. They're probably looking at $150 to $250 million that they just made, so they can afford to hire some more programmers and kind of accelerate the fixing. I think the foundation is laid for the game and the software, but I think that they need to do some heavy lifting program. In other words, there's kind of the mundane programming that is just kind of tedious and hard work is what they need to do, really, to kind of speed up the production of from the foundation that they've laid to the final product. So I'm guessing that over the next year we're going to see vast improvements. We're going to see probably patches every couple of weeks or every month or so, as they're probably in the hiring process now. So I imagine that, and this is all speculation, but I imagine in about 2 months they're going to have 10 or 15 more programmers in there doing their thing and working really hard. So at about that time we're going to start seeing patches. So here we are. We've made the buggy. I made the wheelbase really wide and a little bit longer than the main body. And that's because the lunar gravity is lower, so whenever you apply torque to the wheels, since the gravity is lower, you're going to want to wheelie more. So I compensated for that by spreading the wheelbase and extending the wheelbase. And now I'm putting on the rocket landing system using the smallest fuel tanks they have there in Kerbal, and the smallest engines. And the assembly is sort of similar to the Mars lander, minus the rope that it repelled on and stuff like that. And so one of the things I forgot to do here is this second stage that I'm building underneath it. I forgot to put in, I put in the gimbal or the reaction wheel on that, but I forgot to put it on the final landing assembly, and so I had to actually fly the mission twice. I had to come back and add the part or the gimbal so that I could control the attitude of it when I was going in for the final approach. So I like to add a lot of gimbals. I think that it adds extra mass, and it's inefficient as far as, like, if you compared my space missions to, like, Matt Lowndes. He's a great YouTuber. He is a minimalist, so he adds as little as possible to the rocket, but I tend to get impatient. So when I want to reorient myself from, say, a prograde direction to a retrograde direction, it takes much longer if you don't add the extra reaction wheels. So since I'm lazy and don't want to wait, I tend to add reaction wheels, and then I have to compensate for it by adding a little bit more fuel tanks, as you can see. So here we are. This is kind of the final product, and in the next episode we're going to launch it and do some lunar motocross. So see you there, buddy.